Hi guys, I'm back. Today I'm going to read Jeremiah 47-52, Proverbs 16, and Psalm 23. Let's get started. The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet as concerning the Philistines, before Pharaoh struck down Gaza. Thus says the Lord, behold, waters are rising out of the north, and shall become an overflowing torrent. They shall overflow the land and all that fills it, the city and those who dwell in it. Men shall cry out, and every inhabitant of the land shall wail, at the noise of the stamping of the hoofs of his stallions, at the rushing of his chariots, at the rumbling of their wheels. The fathers look not back to their children, so feeble are their hands, because of the day that is coming to destroy all the Philistines. Cut from time and season every helper that remains. For the Lord is destroying the Philistines, the remnant of the coastland of Caphtor. Darkness is come upon Gaza. Ashkelon has perished, a remnant of their valley. How long will you gash yourself? Sword of the Lord, how long till you are quiet? Put yourself into your sky. Rest and be still. How can it be quiet? When the Lord has given it a charge against Ashkelon and against the seashore, he has appointed it. Concerning all, thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. Woe to Nebo, for it is laid waste. Kiriathaim is put to shame, is taken. The fortress is put to shame and broken down. The renown of Moab is no more. In Heshbon they plan disaster against her. Come, let us cut her off from being a nation. You also madmen shall be brought to silence. The sword shall pursue you. A voice, a cry from Horonea, desolation and great destruction. Moab is destroyed. The little ones have made a cry. For at the ascent of Luhith they go up weeping. For at the descent of Horonea, where you have heard the distress cry of destruction. Please save yourself. You will be like a juniper in the desert. For because you trusted in your works and your treasures, you also shall be taken. And Chemosh shall go into exile with his priests and officials. The destroyer shall come upon every city, and no city shall escape. The valley shall perish, and the plain shall be destroyed. As the Lord has spoken, give wings to Moab, where she would fly away. The sea shall become a desolation, with no inhabitant in them. Cursed is he who does the work of the Lord with slackness, and cursed is he who keeps back his sword from bloodshed. Moab has been at ease from his youth, and has settled on his dregs. He has not been emptied from vessel to vessel, nor has he gone into exile. For so his taste remains in him, and his scent is not changed. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I shall send him pourers who will pour him, and empty his vessels, and break his jars in pieces. Then Moab shall be ashamed of Chemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their confidence. How do you say, we are heroes and mighty men of war? The destroyer of Moab and his cities have come up, and the choices of a young man have gone down to slaughter, declares the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. The calamity of Moab is near at hand, and his affliction hastens swiftly. Grieve for him, all you who are around him, and all who know his name. Say, how the mighty scepter is broken, the glorious star. Come down from your glory, and sit on the parched ground, O inhabitant of Dibon. For the destroyer of Moab has come up against you. He has destroyed your stronghold. Stand by the way and watch, O inhabitant of the world. Ask him if he is hurt and how he escapes. Say, what has happened? Moab is put to shame, for it is broken. Wail and cry. Tell it beside the army that Moab is laid waste. Judgment has come upon the table, upon Holland, and Jazza, and Bethath, and Dibon, and Nebo, and Beth Diblathaim, and Kiriathaim, and Beth Gamel, and Bethme, and Kerioth, and Bozrah, and all the cities of the land of Moab. Far and near, the horn of Moab is cut off, and his arm is broken, declares the Lord. Make him drunk, because he magnified himself against the Lord, so that Moab shall wallow in his vomit, and he too shall be held in derision. Was not Israel a derision to you? Was he found among thieves, that whenever you spoke of him you wagged your head? Leave the seas and dwell on the rock, O inhabitants of Moab. Let it be like a dove that nests in the sides of the mouth of the gorge. You have heard the pride of Moab. He is very proud of his loftiness, his pride and his arrogance, and the haughtiness of his heart. I know his influence, declares the Lord. His boasts are false, his deeds are false. Therefore I will wail for Moab, and I cry out for all Moab. For the men of Kirhasheth I mourn. For then for Jazer I weep for you. If I understand, your branches pass over the sea, and reach to the sea of Jazer. On your summer fruits and your grapes, the destroyer has fallen. Gladness and joy have been taken away from the fruitful land of Moab. I have made the wine cease from the winepress. No one tries on shouts of joy. The shouting is not the shout of joy. From the outcry at Heshbon even to Elah, as far as Jahaz, they utter their voice. From Zoar to Horonaim and Eglath, Shelishah, for the waters of Nimrim also have become desolate. And I will bring an end in Moab, declares the Lord. To him it offers sacrifice in the high place and makes offerings to his God. Therefore my heart moans for Moab like a flea, and my heart moans like a flea for the men of Kirhasheth. Therefore the riches they gain have perished. For every head is shaved, and every beard cut off. On all the hands are gashes, and around the waist is sackcloth. When all the housetops are Moab, and in the squares there is nothing but lamentation. For I have broken Moab like a vessel for which no one cares, declares the Lord. How it is broken, how they wail, how Moab has turned his back in shame. So Moab has become a derision and a horror to all that are around him. For thus says the Lord, behold, one shall fly swiftly like an eagle, and spread his wings against Moab. And the city shall be taken, and the stronghold seized. The heart of the warriors of Moab shall be in that day, like the heart of a woman in her birth pain. Moab shall be destroyed and be no longer a people, because he magnified himself against the Lord. Terror, pit, and snare are before you, inhabitant of Moab, declares the Lord. He who flees in front of the terror shall fall into the pit, and he who climbs out of the pit shall be caught in the snare. For I will bring these things upon Moab, the year of their punishment, declares the Lord. When in the shadow of Heshbon, the fugitive stopped without strength. The fire came out from Heshbon, flame from the house of Sihon. He has destroyed the forehead of Moab, and the crown of the sons of Tamar. Woe to you, Moab! The people of Shamash are undone, for your sons have been taken captive, and your daughters into captivity. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Moab in the latter days, declares the Lord. Thus far is the judgment on Moab concerning the Ammonites. Thus says the Lord. Has Israel no sons? Has he no heir? Neither has Milcom dispossessed Gad, and his people settled in his cities. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will cause the battle cry to be heard against Rabbah of the Ammonites. And shall become a desolate man, and its villages shall be burned with fire. Then Israel shall dispossess those who dispossess them, says the Lord. Wail, O Heshbon, for Ai is laid waste. Cry out, O daughters of Rabbah, put on sackcloth and lament, and run to and fro among the hedges. For Milcom shall go into exile with his priests and his officials. Why do you boast of your valleys, O faithless daughter, who trusted in your treasures, say, who will come against me? Behold, I will bring terror upon you, declares the Lord of hosts, from all who are around you. And you shall be driven now, every man straight before him, and with none to gather the fugitives. And afterward I will restore the fortunes of the Ammonites, declares the Lord. Concerning Edom, thus says the Lord of hosts, there is wisdom no more in Timon. Has counsel perished from the prudent? Has their wisdom vanished? Flee, turn back, dwell in the depths, the inhabitants of Dinah, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, for the time when I punish him. If great gatherers came to you, would they not leave gleanings? If thieves came by night, would they not destroy only enough for themselves? For I have stripped Esau bare, I have uncovered his hiding places. And he is not able to conceal himself. His children are destroyed, and his brothers, and his neighbors, and he is no more. Leave your fatherless children, and I will keep them alive, and let your widows trust in me. But thus says the Lord, if those who do not deserve to drink the cup must drink it, why will you go unpunished? You shall not go unpunished, but you must drink. For I have sworn by myself, declares the Lord, that Bosra shall become a horror, a taunt, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities shall be perpetual wastes. I have heard a message from the Lord, and an envoy has been sent among the nations. Gather yourselves together and come against it, and rise up for battle, for behold, I will make you small among the nations, despised among mankind. The horror you inspire has deceived you, and the pride of your heart, you who live in the clefts of the rock, behold the height of the hill. Though you make your nest as high as the eagles, I will bring you down from there, declares the Lord. Edom shall become a horror. Everyone who passes by will be horrified and will hiss because of all its disasters. As when Sodom and Gomorrah and their neighbouring cities were overthrown, says the Lord. No man shall dwell there, no man shall sojourn in her. Behold, like a lion coming up from the jungle of the Jordan against a perennial pasture, I will suddenly make him run away from her. And I will appoint over her whomever I choose. For who is like me? Who will summon me? What shepherd can stand before me? Therefore hear the plan that the Lord has made against Edom, and the purposes that he has formed against the inhabitants of Timon. Even the little ones of the flock shall be dragged away. Surely their fold shall be appalled at their fate. And at the sound of their fall the earth shall tremble. The sound of their cry shall be heard at the Red Sea. Behold, one shall mount up and fly swiftly like an eagle and spread his wings against Bosra. And the heart of the warriors of Edom shall be in that day like the heart of a woman in her birth pains. Concerning Damascus, Hamath and Arpad are confounded, for they have heard bad news. They melt in fear. They are troubled like the sea that cannot be quiet. Damascus has become feeble. She turned to flee, and panic seized her. Anguish and sorrows have taken hold of her, as of a woman in labor. Now is the famous city not forsaken, the city of my joy. Therefore her younglings shall fall in her sweat, and all her soldiers shall be destroyed in that day, declares the Lord of hosts. And I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus. It shall devour the strongholds of Ben-Hadad. Concerning Kedar and the kingdoms of Hazor that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon struck down. Thus says the Lord, rise up, advance against Kedar, destroy the people of the east. Their tents and their flocks shall be taken, their curtains and all their goods. The camels shall be led away from them, and men shall cry to them, terror on every side. Flee, wander away, dwell in the depths, O inhabitants of Hazel, declares the Lord. For Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has made a plan against you, and formed a purpose against you. Rise up, advance against the nation at ease, that dwells securely, declares the Lord. There is no gates or bars, that dwells alone. Their camels shall become a plunder, their herds of livestock a spoil. I will scatter to every wind those who cut the corners of their hair, and I will bring their calamity from every side of them, declares the Lord. Hazel shall become a haunt of jackals, and an everlasting waste. No man shall dwell there, and no man shall sit down in her. The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning Elam in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah. Thus says the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their mind, and then I will bring upon Elam the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and I will scatter them to all those winds, and there shall be no nation to which those driven out of Elam shall not come. I will terrify Elam before their enemies, and before those who seek their life, and I will bring disaster upon them. My fierce anger, declares the Lord. I will send the sword after them, until I have consumed them, and I will set my throne in Elam, and destroy their king, and officials, declares the Lord. But in the latter days I will restore the fortunes of Elam, declares the Lord. The word that the Lord spoke concerning Babylon, concerning the land of the Chaldeans, by Jeremiah the prophet, declare among the nations and proclaim, set up a banner and proclaim, conceal it not and say, Babylon is taken, Bel is put to shame, Merodach is dismayed, her images are put to shame, her idols are dismayed. For out of the north a nation has come up against her, which shall make a land in desolation, and none shall dwell in it, both man and beast shall flee away. In those days and in that time, declares the Lord, the people of Israel and the people of Judah shall come together, weeping as they come, and they shall seek the Lord their God. They shall ask their way to Zion, with faces turned toward, saying, Come, let us join ourselves to the Lord in an everlasting covenant that will never be forgotten. And the people have been lost sheep, the shepherds have led them astray, turning them away on the mountains. From mountain to hill they have gone, they have forgotten their fault. All who have found them have devoured them, and their enemies have said, We are not guilty, for they have sinned against the Lord, their habitation of righteousness, the Lord, the hope of their fathers. Flee from the midst of Babel, and go out to the land of the Chaldeans, and be as male goats before the flock. And behold, I am stirring up and bringing against Babylon a gathering of great nations. From the north country they shall array themselves against her. From there she shall be taken. The arrows are like a skilled warrior who does not return empty-handed. Chaldea shall be plundered. All who plunder her shall be sated, declares the Lord. Though you rejoice, though you exult, O plunderers of my heritage, though you frolic like a heifer in the pasture, and neigh like stallions, your mother shall be utterly shamed, and she who bore you shall be disgraced. Behold, you shall be the last of the nations, a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath of the Lord, she shall not be inhabited, but shall be in utter desolation. Everyone who passes by Babylon shall be appalled, and hiss because of all her winds. Set yourself in array against Babylon all around. All you who bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord. Raise a shout against her all around. She is surrounded, her bulwarks have fallen, her walls are thrown down, for this is the vengeance of the Lord. Take vengeance on her, do to her as she has done. Cut off from Babylon the soul, and the one who handles the sickle in time of harvest. This is the sword of the oppressor. Everyone shall turn to his own people, and everyone flee to his own land. Israel is a hunted sheep driven away by lions. First the king of Assyria devoured him, and now at last Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, has gnawed its bones. And therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I am bringing punishment on the king of Babylon and his land, as I punished the king of Assyria. I will restore Israel to his pasture, and he shall feed on Carmel and in Bashan, and his desire shall be satisfied on the hills of Ephraim and in Gilead. In those days and in that time, declares the Lord, iniquity shall be sore in Israel, and there shall be none, and sin in Judah, and none shall be found for I will pardon those whom I leave as a remnant. Go up against the land of Marathon, and against the inhabitants of Pekon, kill and direct them to destruction, declares the Lord, and do all that I have commanded you. The noise of battles is in the land, and great destruction. How the hammer of the whole earth is cut down and broken. How Babylon has become a horror among the nations. I set a snare for you, and you were taken, O Babylon, and you did not know it. You were found in court, because you opposed the Lord. The Lord has opened his armory and bore out the weapons of his wrath. For the Lord God of hosts has work to do in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from every quarter. Open her granaries, pile her up like heaps of grain, and devote her to destruction. Let nothing be left of her. Kill all her bulls, and let them go down to the slaughter. Woe to them, for their day is come, the time of their punishment. A voice, they flee and escape from the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord, our God, vengeance for his temple. Summon archers against Babylon, all those who bend the bow. Encamp around her, let no one escape. Repay her according to her deeds, do to her according to all that she has done. For she has proudly defied the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. Therefore her young men shall fall in her squares, and all her soldiers shall be destroyed on that day, declares the Lord. Behold, I am against you, a proud one, declares the Lord God of hosts. For your days come, In time and I will punish you. The proud one shall stumble and fall, and with none to raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and they will devour all that is around him. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the people of Israel are oppressed, and the people of Judah with them. All who took them captive have held them fast. They refuse to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong, the Lord of hosts is his name. He will surely plead their cause, that he may give rest to the earth, but unrest to the inhabitants of Babylon. The sword against the Chaldeans, declares the Lord, and against the inhabitants of Babylon, and against her officials and wise men. A sword against her diviners, that they may become fools. A sword against their warriors, that they may be destroyed. A sword against their horses and their chariots, and against all the foreign troops in her midst, that they may become one, and they may a sword against all her churches, that they may be plundered, and a drought against her waters, that they may be dried up. For it is a land of images, and they are mad over idols. Therefore wild beasts shall dwell the hyenas in Babylon, and ostriches shall dwell in her. She shall never again have people, nor be inhabited for all generations. As when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities, declares the Lord, so no man shall dwell there, and no son of man shall sojourn in her. Behold, a people comes from the north, a mighty nation and many kings are stirring from the farthest parts of the earth. They lay hold of bow and spear, and they are cruel and have no mercy. The sound of them is like the roaring of the sea. They ride on horses, arrayed as a man for battle against you, O daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon heard the report of them, and his hands fell helpless. Anguish seized him. The pain is of a woman in labor. Behold, like a lion coming out from the thicket of the Jordan against a perennial pasture. And I'll certainly make them run away from her, and I will appoint over her whoever I choose. But who is like me? Who some me? What shepherd can stand before me? Therefore hear the plan that the Lord has made against Babylon, and the purposes that he has formed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the little ones of their flock shall be dragged away. Surely her fold shall be appalled at their fate. At the sound of the capture of Babylon, the earth shall tremble, and a cry shall be heard among the nations. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will stir up the city of the spirit of the destroyer against Babylon, and against the inhabitants of Leb-Kamai. And I will send to Babylon winners, and they shall win her, and they shall empty her land. And they come against her from every side on the day of trouble. Let not the archer bend his bow, let him not stand up in his armor. Spare not her young men, and devote to destruction all her army. They shall fall down slain in the land of the Chaldeans, and wounded in the streets. Israel and Judah have not been forsaken by their God, the Lord of hosts. And the land of the Chaldeans is full of guilt against the Holy One of Israel. Flee from the midst of Babylon, let everyone save his life. Be not cut off in her punishment, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance, the repayment he is rendering her. Babylon was a golden cup in the Lord's hand, making all the earth drunk. The nations drank of her wine. Suddenly the nations went mad. Suddenly Babylon has fallen and been broken. Wail for her, take balm for her pain. She may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she was not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, each to his own country. For her judgment has reached up to heaven, and has been lifted even to the skies. The Lord has brought about our vindication. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Sharpen the arrows, take up the shields. Take up the shields. The Lord has stirred up the spirit of the king of the Medes, and because his purpose concerning Babylon is to destroy. For that is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of for his temple. Set up a standard against the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord has both planned and done what he has done spoke concerning the inhabitants of Babylon. O you who dwell by many waters, rich in treasures, your end is come. The end of your life is cut. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself. Surely I will fill you with men, as many as locusts, and they shall raise the shout of victory over you. It is he who made the earth by his power, who established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding stretches out the heavens. When he utters his voice, there is tumult of waters in the heavens, and he makes the mist rise from the ends of the earth. He makes lightning for the rain. He brings forth the wind from his storehouses. Every man is stupid and without knowledge. Every goldsmith is put to shame by his idols. For his images are false, and there is no breath in them. They are worthless, a work of delusion. At that time of their punishment they shall perish. Not like these is he who is the portion of Jacob, but he is the one who formed all things. And Israel is the tremendous inherited. The Lord of hosts is his name. You are my hammer and weapon of war. With you I break nations in pieces. With you I destroy a king. With you I break in pieces the horse and the rider's rider. With you I break in pieces the chariot and the charioteer. With you I break in pieces man and woman. With you I break in pieces the old man and the youth. With you I break in pieces the young man and the young woman. With you I break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. With you I break in pieces the farmer and his team. With you I break in pieces governors and commanders. I will repay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea before your very eyes for all the evil that they have done in Zion, declares the Lord. I am against you, a destroying matter, declares the Lord, which destroys the whole earth. I will stretch out my hand against you, and then roll you down from the crags, and make you a bad mountain. No stone shall be taken from you for a corner, and no stone for a foundation, but you shall be a perpetual waste, declares the Lord. Set up a standard on the earth, blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations for war against her. Summon her against her the kingdoms. Arorat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a marshal against her. Bring up horses like bristling locusts. Prepare the nations for war against them. The kings of the Medes, their governors and shepherds, deputies, and every land under their dominion. Their land trembles and writhes in pain, for the Lord's purposes against Babylon stand, to make the land of Babylon a desolation, without inhabitant. Warriors of Babylon have ceased fighting. They remain in their strongholds. Their strength is failed. They have become one. Dwellings are on fire. Her boughs are brick. One runner runs to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to tell the king of Babylon that a city is on every side. Her forts have been seized. The marshes are burned with fire, and the soldiers are in panic. But thus says the Lord, Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon, like a threshing floor, at the time when it is trodden, yet a little while, and the time of her harvest will come. And Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has made me an empty vessel. He has swallowed me like a monster. He has filled my stomach with delicacies. Swallowed me like a monster. He has filled his stomach with my delicacies. He has rinsed me out. The violence done to me and my kinsmen be upon Babylon. Let the inhabitants of Zion say, my blood be upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, that is Jerusalem say. Therefore thus says the Lord, behold, I will plead your cause and take up vengeance for you. And I will dry up her sea and make her fountains dry. Babylon shall become a heap of ruins, the haunted jackals, a horror and a hissing, without inhabitant. They shall roar together like lions, and they shall growl like lions' cubs. While they are in flame, I will prepare them a feast, and make them drunk, that they may become merry, and they sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, declares the Lord. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams and male goats. How Babylon is shaken, the praise of the whole earth sees. How Babylon has become a horror among the nations. The sea has come up on Babylon. He is covered with its tumultuous waves, the land of dry and the desert, the land in which no one dwells, and through which no son of man passes. And I will punish Bel and Babylon, and take out his mouth while he is swallowed. The nation shall no longer flow to him. The wall of Babylon has fallen. Go out of the midst of her, my people. Let everyone save his life from the fierce anger of the Lord. Let not your heart faint, and not be fearful. Be not fearful at the report heard in the land. When a report comes in 1 year, and after a report in another year, and violence is in the land, and blood is against war. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, when I will punish the images of Babel. The whole land shall be put to shame, and all its land shall fall in the midst of her, and all of the heaven, then the heaven and the earth, and all their sinners shall sing for joy over Babel. For the destroyer shall come against them out of the north, declares the Lord. Babylon must fall for the slain of Israel, just as for Babylon has fallen on the slain of all the earth. You who have escaped from the sword, do not stand still. Remember the Lord from far, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are put to shame, for we have heard reproach. Dishonor has covered our face, for foreigners have come into the holy places of the Lord's house. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, and I will execute judgment upon her images, and through all her land, the wounded shall groan. Now Babylon should man up to heaven, and those who should fortify a strong hand. Yet destroyers would come from me against her, declares the Lord. A voice, a cry from Babylon, the noise of great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. For the Lord is laying Babylon waste, and is stilling her mighty voice. Their waves roar like mighty waters. The noise of her voice is raised. For destroyers come upon her, upon Babylon. Their warriors are taken, their bows are broken in pieces. For the Lord is a God of recompense. Now he will surely repay, and I will make drunk her officials and her wise men, her governors, her commanders, and her warriors. They shall sleep a perpetual sleep and not wake, declares the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the broad wall of Babylon shall be leveled to the ground, and the high gate shall be burned with fire. The peoples labor for nothing, and the nations weary themselves only for fire. Word that Jeremiah the prophet commanded Seraiah the son of Uriah, son of Maaseiah, when he went with Zedekiah king of Judah to Babylon. In the 4th year of his reign, Sariah was the quartermaster. Jeremiah wrote in a book all the disaster that should come upon Babel, and all these words that are written concerning Babel. And Jeremiah said to Sariah, when you come to Babylon, see that you read all these words, and say, O Lord, you have said concerning this place that you will cut it off, and so that nothing shall dwell in it, neither man nor beast, and it shall be desolate forever. When you finish reading this book, tie a stone to it and cast it into the midst of the earth, and say, thus shall Babylon sing, and rise no more, because of the disaster that I am bringing upon her. And they shall become exhausted. The answer fell out of the words of Jeremiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah, and he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. Well, because of the anger of the Lord, it came to the point in Jerusalem and Judah that he cast them out of his presence. And Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babel. And in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came with all his army against Jerusalem again and laid siege to it. And they built siege works all around. So the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. On the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine was so severe in the city that there was no food for the people of the land. Then a breach was made in the city, and all the men of war fled and went out from the city by night by the way of the gate between the two walls, by the king's garden, and the Chaldeans were around the city, and they went in the direction of the Arab. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued the king and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. And then they captured the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath, and he passed sentence on him. The king of Babylon slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and also slaughtered all the officials of Judah at Riblah. He pulled out the eyes of Zedekiah and bound him in chains, and the king of Babylon took him to Babylon and put him in prison till the day of his death. In the 5th month, on the 10th day of the month, that was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the bodyguard, who served the king of Babylon, entered Jerusalem, and he burned the house of the Lord and the queen's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem. Every great house he burned down, and all the army of the Chaldeans, who were the captain of the guard, broke down all the walls around Jerusalem. And Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive some of the poorest of the people, and the rest of the people who were left in the city, and the deserters who had deserted to the king of Babylon, together with the rest of the artisans. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left some of the poorest of the land to the fine dresses and plowmen, and the pillars of bronze that were in the house of the Lord, and the stands, and the bronze sea that were in the house of the Lord. The Chaldeans broke in pieces, and carried all the bronze to Babylon. And they took away the pots and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the basins, and the dishes for incense, and the vessels of bronze used in the temple service. As to the small bowls, and the fire pans, and the basins, and the pots, and the lampstands, and the dishes for incense, and the bowls for drink offerings. What was of gold, the captain of the guard took away as gold, and what was of silver, as silver. As for the 2 pillars, the 1 sea, the 12 bronze bulls that were under the sea, and the stands which Solomon the king had made for the house of the Lord. The bronze of all these things was beyond weight. And as for the pillars, the height of one pillar was 18 cubits. Its circumference was 12 cubits, and its thickness was 4 fingers, and it was hollow. On it was a capital of bronze. The height of one capital was 5 cubits. Network and pomegranates, all bronze, all were around the capital. And the second pillar had the same pomegranates. With 96 pomegranates on the sides. All the pomegranates were 100 upon the network all around. And the captain of the guard took Sariah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the second priest, and the 3 keepers of the threshold. And from the city he took an officer who had been in command of the men of war, and 7 men of the king's council, who were found in the city, and the secretary of the commander of the army. He mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land, who were found in the midst of the sea. And Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. And the king of Babylon struck them down and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was taken into exile out of this land. This is the number of the people whom Nebuchadnezzar carried away captive. And in the 7th year, 3,023 Judeans. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive of the Judeans 745 persons. All the people's persons were 4,600. And in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 25th day of the month, evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, graciously freed Jehoiachin, king of Judah, and brought him out of prison. He spoke kindly to him and gave him a seat above the seats of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiachin put off his prison guards, and every day of his life he dined regularly at the king's table for his allowance. And a regular allowance was given him by the king, according to his daily needs, until the day of his death, as long as he lived. Proverbs 16. The plans of the heart belong to man, but the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. The Lord has made everything for his purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble. Everyone who is arrogant in the heart is an abomination to the Lord. Be assured, he will not go unpunished. By steadfast love and faithfulness, iniquity is temporal, and by the fear of the Lord one turns away from evil. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Bears a little with righteousness, and great revenues with injustice. The heart of man plans, and the Lord establishes his steps. An oracle is on the lips of a king, but his mouth does not stand in sin and judgment. A just balance and scales are the Lord's. All the weights of the bad God's work. It is an abomination to the kings to do evil, for the throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the delight of a king, and he loves whom he speaks what is right. And a king's wrath is a messenger of death, and a wise man will appease. In the light of a king's face there is life, and his favor is like the clouds that bring the spring rain. How much better to get wisdom than gold? To get understanding is to be chosen rather than silver. And the highway of the upright turns aside from evil. Whoever guards his way preserves his life. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is better to be of a lowly spirit with the poor than to divide the spoil with the proud. Whoever gives thought to the word will discover good, and blessed is he who trusts in the Lord. Wise of heart is called discerning, and sweetness of speech increases persuasiveness. Good sense is a fountain of life to him who has it, but the instruction of fools is folly. The heart of the wise makes his speech judicious, and adds persuasiveness to his lips. Gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. And there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way to death. Work his appetite works for him. His mouth urges him on. A worthless man plots evil, and his speech is like a scorching fire. A dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisper separates close friends. A man of violence entices his neighbor, and leads him in a way that is not good. Whoever winks his eyes plans dishonesty. He who pursues his lips brings evil to pass. Gray hair is a crown of glory, and is gained in a righteous life. Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes the city. The Lord is cast into the lap, but his every decision is from the Lord. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Now this done, I shall now do the Lord's will. Please bow your heads, and Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.